Fred Sylvester with Accredited Building Consultants here. Today we're going to talk about a Moen single handle mixing valve for a tub shower. It's a Posi Temp. The cartridge that goes inside here is called the Moen 122 Posi Temp Valve. One of the things that we find in home inspections is we come into a tub shower control like this, and we'll turn the valve and find that the cold works properly, but once we get over to the hot side, there's no hot water. One of the first things you want to do to try and repair that is to simply take the valve and move it back and forth, hot to cold, hot to cold, hot to cold real fast. Sometimes that will free up the calcium deposits and lime deposits and or sand that's inside the valve. That'll simply free it up, and no harm, no foul. But for today's purposes, we're going to talk about how to repair that 122 cartridge without buying a new one. You can simply go onto YouTube and or Google, and there are plenty of videos already on YouTube that show you how to extract the cartridge out of this shower assembly. So make sure you do that. Learn how to extract the valve first before you get to where I'm going to take you. So now that you've extracted your Moen 122 valve, this is what it looks like. You'll notice that the valve is basically going to come in, for all intents and purposes, three basic pieces. You're going to have this plastic housing. You're going to have an inner cartridge, and then you're going to have another like cammed like device, or a machined cam device that's inside of that valve. And I'm going to basically show you how to service this. Now, this doesn't always work, okay, on valves that are very, very corroded and or that have a lot of lime and calcium deposits inside and are basically locked up and you can't hardly even get them apart. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and take all your O-rings off. You can simply do that by sliding a screwdriver under them and taking them all off. You can take these neoprene pieces off the side of the valve. They just simply come off like this. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is to take the valve and turn it upside down and push down, and you'll notice that your valve is now in two pieces. Okay? So now your valve's in two pieces. Here's your plastic housing. We're going to set this off to the side. And now we have this machined piece, and you'll notice that there's O-rings on these. It's a good idea to remove these as well. Clean them up, wipe them off, make sure they're nice and clean. If you see any deposits on here, like this right here, these are lime and calcium deposits. Simply take some steel wool, make sure your O-rings are removed, and you can just clean those all off with some steel wool, nice and gently, not abrasively. Don't use any abrasive cleaners. Keep this nice and polished the way it looks. The next thing that you're going to want to do is one of the hardest things. This is the trickiest thing to do in the exercise that I'm going to show you today. If you break this piece of white plastic that's right here, okay, if you break it, your valve is broken, and you're going to be spending $40 to $60 at your big box or hardware store for a new valve. So what I do is I take a utility blade like this. Be careful that you don't cut yourself. Okay, take the sharp end and simply stick it underneath between the machined valve assembly and the plastic like this, and then basically torque this a little bit all the way around very, very gently. Very gently. Get this where there's some space here. And I'm talking about space between the housing and the plastic piece. Once you do that, you can simply take your screwdriver. You'll notice that this plastic piece pops right off. Okay? I'm going to show you when we put this back together that this screwdriver looking square end has to go back into this assembly exactly the right way, and I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Now you'll notice that there's this inner piece that's in here. You can see it in here. We need to get that out of the inside of this valve assembly. Now, it's going to be corroded and frozen in there. So you're going to need to take your screwdriver, and inside these holes on the side of this machined piece, you're going to notice that you can stick your screwdriver in here and very gently pry like you're trying to push this inner piece out of the hole at the end. Once you free this up and you kind of got to mess around with it a little bit to get it out of there, you're going to notice that it slides out and you can pull out. And now you have the 3 basic pieces that we were talking about in the beginning of this portion of the video here. So, and once again, you need to inspect this piece. If it's got, it's going to have lime deposits and particles on it, make sure you clean it up real good. After you do that, it's a good idea to run it under some water, rinse it all out, make sure there's no sand and grit on the inside of this, okay? And then basically take your cleaned your cleaned cam piece here, slide it back in here. You're going to notice that it just literally falls back in there. Now here's where it gets tricky, like I was showing before. You need to take this screwdriver looking plastic piece and make sure that it goes right in here like this, in between that slot, and then it slides down. Push it back into the end of this. If it doesn't go all the way down flush, take it and tap it. You're also going to notice when you get done with this that when you take this and you shake it, you're going to notice that it rattles like a baby rattle. Once you've done that, this valve is basically repaired. Okay, so all we got to do is put this back together now. Go make sure you put your O-rings back on. You can go to your big box or hardware store and buy some silicone-based lubricant. Lightly lubricate these O-rings that are on here so they're going to slide back into this assembly. Make sure there's no debris inside this plastic cartridge right here. Rinse it out. Take your piece, slide it back in, turn it upside down, push down like that, give it a couple of taps. You now secured your bottom plastic piece. Your valve is back in the valve assembly. Put your O-ring back on. Take your neoprene pieces, put them back on. They can only go one way. Oh, by the way, make sure that you clean these. Make sure there's no excess debris on them like this one here. Once you get all that clean, it's not a bad idea to take some silicone, put that back on there. Put these neoprene pieces back on your valve assembly. Your valve is now totally rebuilt. Slide this back into your shower valve. Make sure your hot and cold is in the right position like the other videos are going to show you. Give it a whirl. Turn your water back on. Give it a whirl. If it works, you just saved yourself $40 to $60. Fred Sylvester here at Accredited Billing Consultants, here to save you some money. Thank you. And please visit our website at www.swflhomeinspection.com.